And this week is the wrap up of principle-based thought. And so each day we've been writing down our what, why, how, hows, and hopefully you're near the end, but it's been a real practice of doing the work. And I wanted to go through, just make sure that it's clear that you've mastered this skill. We've been focused on it for a month now. And we're going to spend some more time on the language of emotions and really nailing that down for the next little bit. And then in November is when we're going to just dive full tilt into gratitude. And so I'm super excited about that. And I'm actually going to have a lot of people join us for November, and definitely invite you to invite the people you want to have join you on the journey of lighting your life on fire with gratitude, using the secret sauce of gratitude, just feeling like a whole month of being lit up by the frequency of gratitude. And it's super exciting. I have a vision of just having 50 to 100 people at least in with us to play this game. You guys have the workbooks. I'll be sending everyone the PDF of the workbooks so they can print it, but you guys have it. But this is probably the most powerful 30-day like practice that you could ever do. And you guys have had the last 5-6 months to get into the pattern of writing, but this one is where your life will completely light up if you'll do this writing and this work. So we're going to start that in November. This month,
Wow.
we're really diving into the language of emotions. And I'm going to be putting questions onto the WhatsApp for you guys to look at and to ask yourselves, because that's going to be like a new powerful way just to kind of like mix it up a little bit, give you guys a new way of diving into some material. But last week we went through the first couple, the first dozen or so emotions, and I'll send you guys the PDF, but I want you guys to have these in your notes. And we went through it last class, so definitely rewatch this. But the ones we're going to go over to today, actually, I'm going to go over the next ones next week. But I'm going to just remind you to go and look at those ones from last week. But I'm going to review the ones we went over, just the super quick and dirty is like boredom means that you're avoiding something.
Hmm.
Anger means that you need to protect something and restore something. Guilt and shame means that something's been hurt and needs to be made right.
Will you say those again?
Yeah,
Boredom or
boredom. Yeah, boredom means that you're avoiding something. Anger means that you need to protect and restore something. Guilt and shame means that someone's been hurt or something's been hurt and it needs to be made right. Sadness means that you need to let go of something. Sadness is you need to let go of something.
yep.
Confusion is that you need a decision needs to be made. Hatred is that there's a shadow to look at. It's an
Mm.
invitation to look at your shadows.
And what's a
Guilt.
shadow?
A shadow is an unseen or unrecognized a hidden way of being that you don't want, that has shame associated with it typically. In the class last week, we dive into like the whole definition of shadow, and really shadow work is like one to itself, but it's like looking at what behaviors you despise about yourself and then recognizing, releasing, and replacing them, right? So the shadow work is name, validate, and bless, right? So let's say I'll dive a little bit into this is like I feel like what's something, a hatred for um people, let's say, well, I'm trying to drum up hatred. What's an example of hatred? Like I hate
Hate.
Trey, right? Like I always use Trey in my classes, but it's just like it's an easy one. So I feel hatred towards Trey, right?
I do too.
So then I go, okay, so what is the invitation? What do I need to name in myself? So for instance, right now there's a money issue with Trey. He's not paying for the kids, right? So then I look at my shadow and I go, oh, money is, I have a shadow around money where I'm not addressing it directly. I'm resisting it. I have uh, like some unconscious avoidance behaviors around money. And so I'm going to name that. I'm going to see that shadow. And then I'm going to recognize it and see what I need, I'm going to see what I need to do. I see the action I need to take, and then I'm going to release it. I'm going to say, okay, thank you for the message. I took the action. I haven't fully taken the action because I did reach out. I spoke to Catalina and I was like, I need your help with my finances. Like I'm not doing my accounting well, you know? But I did go through, like I had kind of a deep dive into my finances this past week as I recognized this. And then I say, and I pass the rest up to you, right? And then I replace it
Mm.
with faith in myself and in my ability to make money and to manage my finances and to provide for my kids and my family, right? So I took that as an invitation, and that's the beauty of these feelings. When we can get the messages of them, we can step into peace so much faster if we can just recognize it, take the action, and then release it, and then step into what we want. And that's the pattern that I kind of figured out over this retreat and from studying this for years and doing other classes and retreats around it. It's just get the message, take the action, release it, move on. And then I'm out of anger, I'm out of fear, I'm out of jealousy, I'm out of those things faster than before, where I would stay in it for months, weeks, years, whatever.
Hmm. Thank you. Okay, so it's name, validate, and bless, or name, action, and bless.
It, part of the, yeah, my interpretation is that it's action. Like it's an invitation for us to take the needed action. Sometimes action is like with sadness, it's the action is letting it go, right? So it's not necessarily a physical action, but it's in the validation, in the blessing of it, um, in the recognizing of it, in the letting go of it, that we can move on, right? Doing whatever you need
Yeah.
to do in order to then do all you can do and then pass it up. If you're just like, if you skip the action part, you go, okay, I feel jealousy here, then that's kind of spiritual bypassing, right? It's not
Yeah.
actually receiving the message and the teaching and the gift and the invitation of it. The invitation is to do something. Yeah. Awesome. Good questions. So then the next one is jealousy and envy. And jealousy and envy is that a boundary needs to be restored and your worthiness needs to be strengthened. So jealousy is an invitation to build up your self-worth and self-confidence, but it's also to create a boundary of some sort. And so all of the teaching last week was the examples and going into depth around all this. But just if you can even have like a cheat sheet in your wallet like this, when you encounter the emotion, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's totally how to get through this. Like it's just so fast. Okay. So the next one is panic and terror. And Brooke, I was thinking about you in this because you come up out of sleep and you're like, ah, and it's just like all of a sudden this cycling attack of panic and terror that like immobilizes you, right? And the invitation of this is that something in the past needs to be healed. A trauma needs to be healed from the past, and it's a call for that past trauma to be healed. And this gets into a whole bunch of like therapy methods and EMDR or hypnotherapy or like all the different things that we can do to heal trauma. And that's a whole nother conversation, but that's what that message is. So when you see someone in panic and terror, it's typically, unless it's actually like, actually there's a tiger that's going to come and eat you. Like all of these is check your safety in your surroundings. Is your life actually in danger, right? Of course, get yourself out of danger. That's always the first invitation of any emotion. But typically in this society, in our life right now on planet Earth, we're not actually being attacked and our lives aren't actually in danger. It just feels like that. And like we talk about this a lot, where when you get into fear, usually the fear, if you go deep enough, is I'm going to die, right? Like if you just psychologically, that's just fear comes from a place of survival. And so that is part of it, but that's the message of panic and terror. Um, the next one is grief. And that's like a big fat red hot stop sign. And it's saying stop and basically do the grief work. But grief is uncommunicated emotion. Or someone told me this week, grief is uncommunicated love. But the way that we communicate that is by doing the grief work. And so it's saying stop, do the work, which is write it down, say the thing. Like yesterday, I did a session with someone who'd lost his daughter, and he went into hypnotherapy and he met with her and he said the things. He did the Ho'oponopono. He said that I'm sorry, I wish these things had been a different way, right? He was able to connect with her and say those things, and he feels like this complete lightness and this, because the grief is the heavy stuff. The grief is what will hold you down until you stop and do the work. So that's grief. And then next week we'll go into depression, suicidal urges, loneliness, those ones, and we'll keep going with this. But play around with those, and I'd love to hear next week what you find with just recognizing the feelings. And this is about becoming emotionally intelligent, is actually pausing and going, oh, what am I feeling? Recognizing it, right? The first step is recognizing. And last week, Amanda was saying she sees this pattern of like all of these different modality or these formulas that we've shared, the what, why, how, the clarity, belief, consistency, action, the release, replace, recognize, the release, recognize, release, and replace, or the name, validate, and bless. Like all of these are basically saying the same thing, but the first thing you have to recognize it, you have to validate it, you have to get clarity on it, right? And so that's what I'm inviting you to really play with in the next few weeks as we dive into this stuff. And just watch how you become literally emotional intelligence, unlike IQ, emotional intelligence you can increase. It's not as stagnant or set as IQ is. We're kind of born with a certain level of IQ, and there's really not much that you can change about it. But with emotional intelligence, we have like so much capacity to increase our emotional intelligence. And this is one of the like huge uh possibilities with this work. So play with that and yeah, have fun with that. So any questions before we just move on and finish up with the principle-based thought stuff? Fun.
Are you going to do a flyer for November that we can
Yeah.
soon? Because my peeps schedule in advance.
Yes. Okay, here's one other thing I wanted to check in though. I wanted to move this to 12 o'clock rather than 1 my time. That would be 11 your time, Catalina, I believe. Um, that would help Laura and the East Coast people to not be like smack in the middle of the day. 3 o'clock is a little bit more difficult than 2 o'clock, one
That's fine.
o'clock.
That's
Well,
fine.
so I think I'm gonna move it to that time. I'm not sure about whether next week or not, but I'm working
The-
on that and just seeing how far I can get with that. But I will definitely get you the flyer by next week,
Okay.
and
Wait, so what time is it going to be moved to?
just 1 hour earlier, which is a pain
Hmm.
because you rescheduled everything and it actually works a lot better at this time for you, doesn't it?
Well, it's the same as it was, and nope, it's actually it's just fine. It's
Okay.
good.
Okay,
Yep.
awesome. So
Yeah.
that, Laura made that request, and I was like, I'll check and see, and if it's okay with everyone else, then we'll move it up one. So that's really good, and I'm super excited about that. So
Oh,
the
are you moving it for next week?
let's just do it.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. Okay,
let's do
good.
it. And I'll send it on the we are moving class to 12 p.m. Mountain Standard on Tuesdays from now on. Request. Let me know. And then I'll send that flyer out. But thank you for requesting that and sharing it. Okay, so the what, why, how, how. How skilled do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10 in doing your what, why, how, and getting into clarity about what you want after this period of time of practicing it? Just put your hands up and give me your scale. What would you say your rating for yourself would be?
75%.
Okay, you're 7.5. Okay, Brooks
Oh,
an 8. Jolene, what about you? You're like 7. Okay, okay. And what would get you to a 10?
hmm. Um,
Jolene, you're on mute. I saw your mouth moving.
so coming home on the plane, I thought about, I need to put like the prompts in on my computer because for me to go to a paper method, after the workbook is not going to work. It doesn't work now. So I do it mentally. I find myself doing it mentally, which is why I said, yeah, 7.5, because, I'll stop and then I'll go, okay, so actually, what's my last how? What is my what and what is my last how? And then I'm going like, well, what are the 5 steps I'm going to do? What are my SMART goals to even get there with everything? So like I go, you know, last week I had to book my client on a month-long trip with 5 different elements of different planes and going to different cities and theater tickets and and it took me 3 days to accomplish the task. But I did the what, why, how immediately just for that because I had to I had to figure out the whole scope of the thing and how much time it was going to take, and then to know what I was going to work on first, because you know, you can't just start in the middle, and I went, oh, yeah, I do this, but I don't ever pencil it out because, just for you guys, I'm in the last week of the last day of the month, the last month of the quarter, and the year end for one of my clients' fiscal. So it's like this
So,
week is crazy,
and you're
right?
doing a 3-day course.
Yeah, and then I'm in a 3-day course, and then I'm going so last week I couldn't even get on the Zoom with you guys because there was so much going back and forth about his travel plans, which needed to happen like immediately that I couldn't even disengage for an hour. It was like, oh, okay, just spill everything and I'll get it. But in looking at that, I've lost that capacity to actually schedule those things. And so doing the what, why, how is like, oh, this is going to take 3 days. Well, I can't ignore everything else for 3 days. Just like this 3-day course, I can't ignore everything else. So I actually have to figure out, what's going in. And I'm thinking I should have prompts that just come up. So that it's,
Mm.
because the other thing is like, when I had kids, I had the master schedules. I knew where everybody was. I knew that. And then I'll just say, obviously there's some emotion, probably all of them, if I told the truth. Jealousy, panic, grief, the whole thing of like it wasn't turn out. And I abandoned the whole thing. And really, I'll just say it was a big fuck you of like, here I came in and I structured and organized and everything. And I'm looking back and I'm going like, oh, I didn't have a buy-in on a partner. So I was doing it. And then because I didn't have the buy-in of what I had structured, I had just, whatever I had. And then I went, I just threw the whole thing out. Well, that
Yeah.
doesn't work for my life.
Yeah, and so if you look at in the structure in the clarity formula, it was getting to the bottom. And I find like so often on my pages, I would well, I got to most of them, but sometimes I would get to the how and then I'd be like, okay, go. And I'd start going before I got to the how do I know I'm successful?
Yep.
And
That,
so that is such like if we actually even just start with that, if we go
yeah.
like, hey, what do I want? I want to schedule all his stuff out for 3 days, like for the next 3 days, and I want to make sure that I have this, and this done. And how do I know he's successful? He's going to have his itinerary set, and I'm going to be able to just let go of the rest. Or
Yes.
I'm going to, whatever it is, like I'm going to set up a schedule for the kids. And if they want to follow it, that's fine. But I know I showed up in a way that I'm proud of. And
Yeah.
I was a good mom to these kids according to my values.
Yep.
Right. And
Yep.
so then if they go, screw you, I don't want to do it, this is dumb, that's fine because you created a schedule and you organized their lives so that they had the fallback that you feel like you wanted to do as a stepmom, right? So, like all to say, that is a part that I know I've I tend to like skip, and I know that most people don't even know about. Like
Right.
most people don't even have the concept of it. But that's the life-changing aspect of this process. So if you're going to skip anything, skip the middle, but do the last part of like, how do I know I'm successful? And if you get that vision, if you create in your mind the vision of, oh, I'm going to be sitting on that plane and I'm going to just feel so good. Like that's for me, that's my vision of how I know I'm successful in preparing for this retreat that I have starting tomorrow is like, I'm going to get on the plane tomorrow morning and I'm going to be like, oh, I did it. Like I prepared, I'm ready. I know the meal schedule. I know how I'm going to show up for the next 5 days. And I just feel good. I feel at peace. I'm not anxious. I'm not scattered, right? And all the other things, once I get that, then I almost automatically know the to-do list because I know what I'm going for.
Yeah. So here's my 15 pages, which I call his travel book that I create for him. So he basically has this, and then every day, this is day one, or trip one, or first element, I guess I should call it. And once he's complete with this, it goes away. And then he goes to the second thing. So he gets on a flight.
That's amazing.
He picks up a car.
He's like so lucky. I want you.
He goes to the hotel. Oh, here now. Okay, now he's got to look. He's got a meeting. Here's his Zoom links. Okay, here's another meeting. Here's his Zoom links. It's all electronic, but that's not how he operates. He operates this way. So, I make a travel book every time. It's actually got 16 pages, and I figured out it takes an hour and a half to do a page.
I hope he pays you a lot of money.
He does.
That's amazing.
Good.
Too
You're
much.
getting paid to do what your like superpower is. So congratulations, Catalina.
Power. It is my superpower. So, and the other thing that came up, and thank you, Jolene, because she took us on a tour of Park City. And I remember that I planned a vacation, the family vacation with the kids for Park City. And, I saw Park City for the first time with Jolene and Laura that I never saw on family vacation. And then I went, what the hell happened there? So that actually brought that to the retreat. Like being some.
Brooke, you're on.
She's got to go. We love you.
Brookie, love you.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
you.
blessings to Kaya, sending her lots of healing love.
Thank you. And I will send my response to your question to our group. Okay, Paige, about
Please.
what would get us to 10 there.
Yeah.
It comes down to consistency on my end, but also, just like doing it consistently and having the schedule. I don't know whether something online would be better for me. So
yeah, I wonder too that like going through it and having those 5 mm shifts to like really get the breakthroughs around it. But I think in the practice, it's just training your mind to think that way. So, okay, yeah, let me know, and I love you. Okay, see ya. Jolene, what about you? Is there anything that like, do you want to go through one of the what, why, hows? Would you be one of our guinea pig? And we can just go through in the next 10 minutes a what, why, how, because I think it's really helpful to see the process and just get a little coaching on the 5 mm shifts. I'll just, as you choose, or do you have one ready to go, or do you want to go look through and see?
One comes to my mind, but going back is something that you were just saying. I think that's the piece that I've been forgetting, and that's why, because it's like, how do I know I'm successful? So your explanation here was helpful, because it's like, oh, okay, it's that, because it sounds so simple, but when you're writing it down and go from 1 to 2 to 3 and then 4, and then say, well, how am I successful? It's almost like this convoluted concept over here that my brain just doesn't quite get to. So that was helpful to start with that and go backwards, because what you said was that actually creates the to-do list. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's like maybe like moving question 4 up to be question 2. Like, what do I want? I want to hire a VA. How will I know I'm successful? Well, I have a VA doing 50% of my like work that I'm doing and taking up all my time. And I have 50% more time freedom, right? Oh, okay. Why do I want that? Oh, so yeah. Um, the distinction we got at the retreat as well is, do I really want to hire a VA? Like, I want to have a VA do 50% of my work. Like, have a VA do 50% of the stuff that's taking up my time, that's busy work, right? That's what I want. So then from building on like a clearer what, right? So what's an example of something you want, Jolene?
do you want me to pick just something new,
What
or
was the
just
one you
something?
just said again? Sorry,
Um, I missed you. What'd you say?
what's the one that you just said, what you want?
I would go with just how do I say? Just better health.
Okay.
Just, health.
Yeah. So sometimes people say, I want to join a fitness program or I want to get on a diet. But like, no, they don't. They don't want to do that. They want better health, right? So better health is a good one. But just the distinction there that some people get a little bit tied up in the how as a what. But what you want is better health. That's great. And then you go, like, how do you know you're successful at having good health? Like, what does that look like? What does that feel like?
I think just exactly that feeling, having the feelings of feeling better, the vitality, the wholeness of health.
Yeah. So this is a huge thing that in the how I know I'm successful, you want to get into that feeling because that's actually how we create, right? If you really got into that feeling every morning of like, oh yeah, I want to feel energized and I want to feel healthy and I want to feel strong and you get into that feeling, then it comes to you so much faster, right? And then when you get into that feeling and you see yourself strong, healthy, energized, all those things, then how easy is it to make that to-do list? How are you going to feel energized? Well, a few things immediately come to mind, right? We're all
Mhm.
really good at the how. So then go into the why. Like, why do you want to feel that health and that strength and that energy and why?
Because if I don't do it, nobody else will.
Yeah,
For me. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Oh yeah, the longevity of it, the um being able to continue what I love to do, whether that's hiking or biking, and being able to continue to do that.
totally. That's an awesome why, because that's invigorating, right? Oh, because I want to bike and I want to hike and I want to play with my grandbaby and I want to hold and I want to be able to run around and hold their hand and take them on hikes and right? So that is exciting. But because no one else is going to do it, because I have to, is not going to be as powerful of a why. So it's a perfect example for us, right? sometimes the first thought that comes to mind is because no one else is going to, because I have to, because right? And then, but what we want is the why that invigorates us. This process is going to be so much more powerful if you can bring in emotion. Yeah. So what do I want? I want to be healthy. Why? So I can hike and bike and run and play with my babies. And how? Well, I'm going to create a routine. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to take action. I'm going to, right? You can even go into the formula for success and your what and your how. Well, you're already in the clarity. And so now it's just, I'm going to take action and I'm going to be consistent. What does that look like? Action is every day I exercise. Action is I meal plan. Action is I, drink enough water and sleep enough. And then the consistency is I do that every day. I do it in the morning. I do it in the evening. I get up from my desk consistently. So whatever that looks like. But our hows are like on a conscious level, we're pretty aware of what the hows are. But on a subconscious level, we have these blocks because we're not in clarity. So then you get in, oh yeah, because it's going to feel so good. And then as you get into that frequency of the how you know you're successful each day, you're going to just start to feel that more and more.
Well, for me, nothing to commit to before so commitment for me occurs at the end point. I'm not necessarily committed to the beginning point. It's take out the trash. It's another to do, but if I know at the end how I'm going to feel, makes me feel better or makes me freer or have more free time or more in love with somebody, I can commit to that. I don't actually commit to the task.
No. So this is like how we use our emotions and our minds as a tool, right? Like this is just, it's so powerful. So Catalina, give us an example of something you want. Like what's one of your whats that you've written down this month?
Finances. So, like I'm really great for everybody else, but the shoemaker's kids don't have shoes.
Okay, so what's your what?
So my what is actually do my finances to get my taxes done.
So that's your how. What's your what?
No,
Do you really want to do your taxes?
no, never.
No.
No.
What do you want?
Well, I want peace of mind. I want clarity about my finances. I want to know how well I'm doing with my financial budget, my goals, and everything else. But until I take that time at the top, I can't get to the bottom.
Well, that's the thing though. Your what is actually, I want peace of mind around my finances. That's the what.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. The doing your finances is just part of the how.
So I thought that was the peace of mind is the why.
No, that the peace of mind, I want peace of mind around my finances. Why? What would peace of mind around your finances give you?
Peace of mind.
What does peace of mind give you? Why do you want peace of mind? So I can. Just like Jolene, so I can hike, so I can bike, so I can crawl around with my nephew, so I can have energy, so I can feel more alive. Why do you want peace of mind around your finances?
Because I don't have peace of mind. So it's a direct impact because I don't have peace of mind about my own finances. I mean, I know more about my clients than I know about me.
But I know, but the first thought, just like hers was, because no one else is going to do it.
Yeah, well, I have it
Your first thought is because I don't have it.
because I don't have it. Right. Right.
But what you want is peace of mind around your finances. Why? What will peace of mind of your finances give you? Why do you even want peace of mind around your finances? What's it
Well,
taking away from you?
freedom.
Not having. Okay, so because I want freedom.
Yeah.
Why?
Freedom of time,
Yeah.
freedom from work, freedom to go do what I want to do.
Yeah, what would you do if you had freedom of time and you could do what you wanted to do? What would it be?
I can't actually even tell you.
That's often the case. That's
It's
often the case. It's like a smoker being like, what if you didn't smoke? What would you do with all that time? I don't know. I haven't thought of that. But this is part of the process.
yeah.
You
Okay.
could have time freedom. If you had freedom emotionally around your finances, what would you do? Would you vacation? Would you go on more retreats? Would you go and hang out with your girlfriends? Would you start dating? What would you do?
Yeah, conceptually, all of those.
Okay, what's one thing?
Um, well, more quality time with friends.
Awesome. So I would spend more time. So I want peace of mind around my finances. So I have way more time to spend with friends and just enjoying myself and playing and having fun with friends. Right? That's a great why.
That's my why. Okay.
That's your why.
So my what isn't peace of mind?
Your what is peace of mind around my finances.
Okay. And my why is because I want quality time with my friends.
Yeah, I want time freedom so I can do things like spend time with my friends, play, travel,
I
enjoy my
I,
life.
I have
I
freedom
want to
to
enjoy my life more,
yeah,
right?
I just want to enjoy my life more. I want time freedom so I can make my own choices, not choices based on what I do for work.
Great why. That's a great why.
Okay.
Now the how, we're going to skip over because we're going to go right over into how do you know you're successful? How do you know, like, what would peace of mind look like and feel like? That's another way of asking, how do you know you're successful? What would it look like and what would it feel like?
Well, my first reaction is I would have, I'd have a travel book for myself.
Okay, great.
Because that's like when I do something for him, I have the travel book. I know I'm complete. I know I'm happy. I know it's all done. When I scan it and send it, it's like there's my big celebration.
Yeah.
All the stuff.
So imagine yourself a month from now with your own travel book and going, heck yeah, I am successful. I am so freaking successful. I have my own travel book. I'm so happy that I got peace of mind around my finances so I can have my own travel book.
Okay.
And so, how are you going to do that? How are you going to get your finances in order so that you have peace of mind and you can create your own travel book?
Well, first thing is I have to be clear about what are the elements that would be required. Then I have to be clear about the
That's what
order.
we're doing. What are they?
Um, well, I'd have to look at them.
Okay, look at them. That's a good idea. Number
Because
one, look at my finances. There's three spots. The first one is look at them. Okay, good. We got that figured out. Two, what? What's the second?
oh my God. Well, look at my goals that I wrote down.
Okay,
So, because,
so
those aren't present anymore
look at
either.
my finances and look at my goals. That's the first one. Look. Okay.
Okay.
Become aware, right? Recognize. We're doing the recognize thing. Okay,
Yep.
then what?
Okay, so recognize. Okay, good. Uh, then create a schedule of what there is to do. Like, do they need attention? What attention do they need? How long does it take? Where am I going to schedule that in? When would I be done by?
Yeah. So, like you first look at it, then you make a schedule, basically a to-do list from all the information that you get. You get more information and then you create a schedule. And then what's the third step?
Do it.
Yeah. Just take the freaking action and do it. And then you have this peace of mind around your finances, and you get to now create your own travel book.
Yes. Yes. I have to tell you, I went to a client and now I'm a spreadsheet queen. And I had to go, no, still learning to be queen because she does everything in a spreadsheet. And I was going like, oh, I just want to sit with her and watch from behind. I just want to watch her because there's all these little things that I'm going like, I never thought about putting like my goals. My goals are on a piece of paper. They're not in a spreadsheet where I can actually calculate. So on her spreadsheet, she would put the goal in, then she has another page where she has all the numbers, and then it has a color thing. So she can tell if it's red, she's just started, or if it's yellow, it's on her way, or if she's green, and it it tells her, she just looks at it and she goes, yeah, I put my $1,000 in savings, so it's green. And I'm going like, what? What? What?
The spreadsheet geek in you is like so turned on.
I'm going like, oh, I have my goals on a separate piece of paper and I have no measurement tool for success.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah.
what if you got super clear on how you know you're successful so that when you get that, you can celebrate. You can see it's green now. I did it. Like I have my travel book, right? You can't just go, oh, I now have peace of mind.
So yeah,
Like
so there's learning in there
maybe,
too.
maybe not, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, learning something new, learning beyond what I know now.
exactly.
There's learning
Yeah,
in there. So
yeah. So do you see how clear that is when you do the process? But
yes.
so here's the hangups that we get stuck on. A, coming up with a what that's not actually your what. You don't actually want what you're saying you want. I want to create a spreadsheet. No, you don't. I
No,
want to I want to go through all my finances. No,
no,
you don't.
no,
No, you
never.
don't. So go into the why of like, I want to do that. Oh, yeah. If you ask yourself why just on the what, you'll probably come up with a clearer what. Oh, because I want peace of mind. Okay,
Okay.
that's actually your actual what. Now
Okay.
you go into, oh, if I had that, what would it give me? That's your why. Because I want to have this and I want to have this and I want to be able to do that, right? And then you can go jump down into the how do you know you're successful? You go,
Yep.
oh, I'd have my own travel book. Oh, I'd feel this. I'd have this, right? What would you feel? What would you have? And then the how is so easy. And
Yep.
really, it's recognize, take action and like do the work, right? It's just like look at it, plan it and do it. Right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
did, right? So if we were to like systematize what we just figured out here, that's the system. And does that help to kind of clarify how to do this process?
Yes. Yes. A lot. Because
Yeah,
yeah, that the what was not the what.
totally. And
Okay.
that's what I realized just at this retreat, because I've been doing this for so long, it's kind of second nature. And then when I was coaching people through it, I was like, oh, your what's not your what. Like we're starting at the wrong place here, you know? So that's a big one. Yeah.
So it
Um,
actually occurs to me like the The how, well, no, you have to know what, but yeah, I think the how do you know you're successful should be number two.
Yeah, I think I would move that up at
Yeah.
least the three, because then the how is so easy, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Um, yeah. And Helen has made this years ago and we've been using it this way for years, but I don't know if we've ever done it where people are doing it every single day and
Yeah.
we're like going into it in so many different ways. So f- f- so anyway, it's a work in progress, but it's so powerful when you can do it. Like, don't you feel so much more clarity? Like
Yeah.
this is literally the process to get anyone into clarity. And you can do this with your friends, just like when they're like going around in circles. You're like, okay, so what do you want? Right? Because people just spiral all over the place when they're just not in clarity.
Yeah.
But when you get into this, like you can coach in such a different way when you can guide someone into clarity through this process. So yeah, we could geek out on this all day, but yeah, thanks for playing with me and this will be really helpful for the people that watch this as well, because it's like real live examples. You can go through it and explain it all day, but until you actually like put it to practice, um, then you can't do
I'm
it.
going to switch the two hows and just play with that. So, and like for me, in what you're saying, like if I know how I'm going to be successful, then I know the smart goals that have to align with that. It's like, and there's what I can commit to. I can commit to how I know I'm going to be successful.
Yeah.
The rest of it is like, yeah, nobody wants to take out the trash. Somebody says, I want to make a lot of money. This is a conversation I have with clients all the time. They say, I want to make a lot of money. And I said, drive a cement truck. And they're going like, why would I do that? And I said, do you know how much they get paid? They get paid like $120,000 a year for driving a truck.
Right.
Oh, and like if you only want to do money, drive a cement truck. Next one's garbage collector. Nobody wants that job. That's
Yeah.
why they pay so much, but I'm going like, no, you don't want money. You don't want money. Forget about money. So I can do that in a money conversation. I couldn't do it in this conversation.
Right?
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's the same thing. If you see it
I
one place, you see it everywhere. And that's what's happening here is you're going like, oh yeah, I do this in all these other realms. This is
know.
just when I'm doing it for myself. Because you can
Yeah.
get people clear about money like that, because that's your game. Yeah.
Yeah. They always say, I want more money. And I go, no, you don't.
Yeah.
I'll
You
give you
want
a
more
thousand.
freedom. You want more peace. You want your nervous system to settle down, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to travel. You want to be able to,
Nervous system to settle down. Oh, that would be a good one. Is that my what?
right? Well, money is so much tied to that. Like usually when people want more money, they want actually their nervous system to settle.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's a fundamental, it's a root chakra issue. And root chakra is all about security and safety.
Yeah. And nobody ever learned it. Nobody ever taught you. It,
No,
it's
it's crazy.
it's
Like
hard.
in college, the best class I ever took was personal finance, and it wasn't a required class. Like
Yeah, thank you.
everyone's graduating from here and doesn't know how a credit card works. Like
Yep.
this is insane. So
By that times, whatever age my clients are, and they still don't know. They have so much misinformation, like on the basics, just the basics,
I
and I
don't know that what compounding interest is, like really basic stuff.
feel
Yeah.
like, I'm the dream killer because because they go, oh no, if I just do this, and I go, do you realize that's not a thing? That's not even a thing. Who told you that? Like, that's not even a thing. You can't get from there to there. And then it's like, get it. No, actually, I'm the truth teller, and you're not gonna like it.
Kidding. No kidding. You're so bold and courageous to Oh, love you guys so much. Have an incredible week, and I'll see you on the other side next week at noon, 11 your time and 12 our time, Jolene. So
Already adjusted. I already moved it in my calendar. So yay.
okay, love you guys. Thank
See
you.
you.